Howdy, y'all. You ever heard of the millennial pause? Um, well, iPads, they're going through a little bar mitzvah, so to speak. I don't know how 2010, right? That's when the iPad was released. If that's wrong, I will write it.
I looked it up. This is the first iPad, and there it is, January 27th and April 3rd. And April 30th for the 5G, okay.
But here's the thing that is important about this thing.
The iPad.
Is that ever since they've released the iPad, it has been a copycat iPhone. And now they're starting to do their own thing. Like for real, for real. There was a split. They changed the operating system officially, which the nerds thought it was different enough. So that's different. But I think now it actually is a different operating system altogether.
Pause. Okay, so I'm supposed to believe it's a new operating system just because you think it is, but why?
Partially because of, well, let me show you. So we've got right here floating windows, which has been a thing, but not on the mini iPad. It was on the bigger iPad Pros with a feature called Stage Manager.
Okay, so this is new because it's on the mini and it's got colors on the left.
Stage Manager had 3 dots, but they were in the center. This is off to the side like a Mac. Now, what's so cool about it is that when you click it, it gets really big like that. And then it becomes very easy to kind of click what you want.
I like how it shrinks and the visuals match the Mac, so it makes sense.
So you move apps around by touching the top, and you kind of resize them with the top and bottom corners. But then when you open another app, especially if it remembered that it was a full screen app, it'll just go over everything. But if you squeeze it down, it remembers that everything was there. So the other thing that I think is really cool that they've implemented, other than just floating windows, is this feature, which is now the new like Mac menu. At the very top of the Mac, there's all these options, and essentially they've completely copied that and brought that API, which iPadOS is essentially kind of a copycat of for a while. From here, if you want, you can also access the close app or expand or whatever else from within this little pull-down menu. It would just kind of go, but. So it's not really that different. Honestly, I think it was well implemented hiding that there, but I've talked too much about it. Is that better? So that's 2 things. They have the little tiny touch stoplight is what they call it because it's, red, yellow, and green. And then on top of the stoplight, we've got the pull-down menu. Now, the stoplight and the pull-down menu basically look like macOS, but they don't fully copy macOS because they're not working just like macOS. They use real already existing iPad things, both of them, including the floaty window thing. That's built on, if you remember, you could split iPad apps halfway. One would be 3/4 and the other would be really thin. And then you could have like floating app carousel, like a card deck of iPhone apps, essentially, that would be really tall or whatever, that would float on top. That was how multitasking worked on the iPad beforehand. Those were all a bunch of different shapes on a bunch of different iPads that developers eventually just started supporting on their apps. And once they started supporting all these different shapes, then Stage Manager came in and said, hey, we can just make any sized app. And so they're using that exact same framework of, over the years of forcing developers to use this weird shape, now they're all capable of stretching their apps to almost any size. So now we have a set of apps made for the iPhone and iPad that are really iPhone apps, but they're iPad apps, so they have a few iPad features. And those few iPad features make it to where it can work like a Windows or Mac desktop computer. I have to say I'm impressed. This is the first time, this is iOS 26 beta. This is just the first time that it kind of feels like a tablet-sized screen for touch has been made use of in a way that is good. The iPad's strength is that it is so versatile. It can be your little booklet that you use all the time as kind of your main device, or it can be a primary like art sketching device or note taker. And on top of that, you can even pull around a controller in order to play games or other things like that. Not too many people do, but there are some games on here that you can play. And the newer devices support even bigger games like Assassin's Creed and Resident Evil and all that. Or more commonly, you can pull something out like a keyboard and hook it up to a monitor. That way, if you have floating apps on multiple screens and your mouse is working on here, it basically becomes a computer. You see, something I think a lot of people miss is that I've always thought of an iPad not as a phone, blown up iPhone, but as a half of a laptop. This is almost a laptop, but it doesn't have the keyboard. We have the peripheral tech to make that fine. So I can actually just cart around these two items and I have a stand built into this. Plus an even more precise device if I really need something. This is a phenomenal, very small setup. Grab that controller and I have an all-in-one that does pretty much everything that I would do on my Switch or my console or my desktop or my MacBook or my iPhone. The iPad is its own thing and it's really good, and it's needed this multiple screen sort of situation to support what it is. Half a laptop. The most versatile type of device. So for me, I really like the ability to use these portable devices. I like the Steam Deck and the Switch and these kind of more mobile devices that have versatility and use wireless technology intelligently. The iPad introduced a third feature that I think really showed that they understand the future of this, which is they added a cursor. Instead of their tiny little bubble finger emulating mouse that they used to have that kind of glid across the screen like a hockey puck when you would toss it. I loved that little physics thing. You'd go, woo. iOS has always been great about physics and they did the mouse well there. I think it still works like that, but it's now shaped like an arrow. That precision really helps you when you're trying to go to those tiny little text points at the top of these menus here. And because of that, it shows they knew that even though they designed a really cool little finger animation where it would snap to things, emulating a real computer and making it more portable and like what anything else can be is way more important for the iPad. This shows they understand the device and they're not afraid to go in that direction with it. It looks like a Mac. People could say that this is cannibalizing the Mac. Now, for me personally, I don't think that you could say that, because what a Mac is a collection of software that's oriented for computers that run on mice and keyboards and are designed to run plugged up to the wall or like sort of in that way, right? Laptops are kind of built off of wall-oriented computers, whereas these apps, they're designed to be lightweight. They're designed for ARM first. They're designed completely based on touch. All of the elements of the way that this device works in the apps that are run, they're still too different. The way that they run architecturally, the way that they run battery life-wise, the way that what I use on here is a different language, and it's developing and growing, and what we can do on this platform is amazing. But Apple is committed to it. And so much so at the cost of looking like they're aping their own operating system and cannibalizing, which they're not. That's my main point there. But that's really kind of, I think, something that is important because they haven't wanted to really combine those. They wanted to keep the iPad and the Mac separate. So understanding that it was this important to do that for the iPad to grow really shows me and excites me that they're committed to the future. And I'm excited for the future. So really excited for iPad 26, iPadOS 26, and all the rest. I actually like the iPhone operating system. It's pretty fresh. They've actually cleaned up iOS in ways that I like. I can't wait to check out macOS, and the watch seems to be stable, which I like. So maybe it's cleaning house refresh year, but what I've seen so far, the iPad is a dream device, and my fanboy heart is tickled to the extent that it can be. Thanks for watching. This is Tyler, the Creator, Noid, from his 2024 album that's like really popular, so you probably are aware of it, but here it is.